ITIL maturity model, or ITIL MM. So this is a tool that organizations can use to objectively and comprehensively assess their product and service management capabilities and maturity of the organization's value system. Then the primary purpose of such assessments is to inform organizations' improvement planning by highlighting areas that need improvement. So, well, the primary purpose is to help to improve the existing capability or the organization's value system from an ITIL perspective. But there may be other purposes also. For example, once the target for the maturity is set, then the progress against those targets can also be tracked. It's also possible to obtain a formal certification or confirmation of the maturity level from a service provider who has been licensed to perform or to undertake the maturity assessment as well. So this is where PeopleCert provides licenses to their consulting partners. So it's with Axelos in the UK as well. So they're known as ACP, Axelos Consulting Partners. And once they are licensed to do this, which means they would have had one or more certified assessors as well, who can perform these assessments on behalf of the assessing organization or the ACP, the consulting partner, Axelos consulting partner. And next, we see here, assessments can be performed internally or by PeopleCert accredited consulting partners. So ACPs, yeah, we can call them as accredited. Initially, all this was with Axelos in the UK, but now it's everything is PeopleCert. So, and they're known as PeopleCert accredited consulting partners. So the ACPs are trained in the assessment methodology and have access to the assessment criteria as well. And in fact, an organization can do their own self-assessment without bringing in an ACP. It will be more informal for them so that they can understand what's going on. They can do that even using the information in the ITIL official practice guides. There is a chapter in every ITIL official practice guide on how to perform a self-assessment for a specific practice only. So for example, for release management or for risk management or whatever, this assessment can be done. And these practice guides have the criteria in a table, which may be assessed in the form of a checklist, and the final score can be generated. And there's also another publication, the overview of the ITIL maturity model. This can also be used for the self-assessment. It's a good source of information for readers who require even more detail that is there in the transformation book that we are now into in this course. So here, as you can see, the two sub-bullets to the bottom. The first one, the assessment of the organization's product and service management capability is based on evidence of the fulfillment of defined criteria relating to the 34 ITIL management practices. What that means is the management practice can be rated only with a capability level. So it's possible, for example, an incident management could be at level 3 out of a possible maximum level 5. The minimum is level 1. So these levels have various definitions. So for example, level 2 is a good level already wherein processes are in place for that practice. Whereas level 1, the processes are not fully developed. There may be some ad hoc work going on, and therefore that's not a good situation. So we have those 5 levels there. And so an assessor can check out the evidences before ascertaining which level a certain practice is in. However, if you look at the next sub-bullet, the assessment of the organization's maturity is based on evidence of the fulfillment of criteria relating to the 5 key components of the organization's value system, which means that now this goes into assessing the 5 components of the value system, like how is the governance, how is the continual improvement model, how is the service value chain or the value chain now in ITIL version 5. In ITIL 4, we had the service value chain. Now it is both product and service. So we call it a value chain. And then we also have the practices. And then we have the guiding principles. So these are the 5 components of the value system. Now, practices have capability assessment, but for the service value system and its 5 components, we can also have a maturity rating. So organizations can decide whether they want to get only one practice assist or a few practice assist, or they want to assess the entire service value, entire value system. There are, of course, some rules on what can be assessed. Typically, continual improvement practice is always assessed. Then assessment steps, then plan the assessment, then conduct it, perform it, report the findings, and resolve identified issues. This is a very logical way of working whenever there is an assessment. So the criteria that I was mentioning about earlier, these are designed to ensure that the practice can reliably achieve its purpose. And these criteria are from the 4 dimensions of the product and service management, meaning there are some organization and people criteria to be assessed. There are some information and technology ones as well. And similarly for the other 2, the processes and value streams and partners and suppliers areas. And these criteria from the 4 dimensions apply to every practice success factor for a practice. Typically, every practice in ITIL has at least 2 PSFs or practice success factor and up to 4 PSFs. And under each PSF, there are some capability criteria, and these are assessed. And these criteria come from the 4 dimensions. And so this ITIL maturity model is based on the architecture and concepts of ITIL, but it doesn't check whether ITIL guidance is being followed or not. So meaning it's not, so if the assessment is positive, the results of that, it doesn't mean that the ITIL guidance is being followed well. But so that is not the real intention of the maturity assessment. And because there may be other things that the organization may want to do. They may have their own methods as well. And that is okay. So the ITIL maturity model is basically looking for evidence on the lines of ITIL or something similar that the organization does. So it is not that we are giving the organization an ITIL compliance certificate. It's just a capability maturity assessment. And so we have seen so far that both practices as well as the value system components, all the 5 components, can be assessed in organizations that have been developing their product and service management systems and capabilities using any other relevant guidance and good practice. So this assessment considers the maturity of the product and service management system components and the capability of specific product and service management practices. So here on the right side, we see value system maturity assessment, and below we see capability assessment of product and service management practices. So we look at the upper one on the right. For the value system maturity assessment, each component, meaning there are 5 components in the value system, so each one is assigned a maturity level from 1 initial to level 5 optimizing based on evidence collected during the assessment. The overall maturity level of the ITIL value system is defined as the lowest level achieved by any component. So for example, let's say governance is at level 4, practices are at level 3, guiding principles level 2, value chain at level 4, continual improvement model at level 3. Let's say it's like this. And so the one that was rated level 2, which was the lowest one, that will be taken as the overall value system maturity. So even if any one of the 5 components which has the lowest rating, that eventually becomes the overall value system maturity rating. Then we have the capability assessment of product and service management practices, meaning the ITIL practices. Here also similarly, level 1 to level 5. In level 1, the practice may occasionally or partially achieve its purpose through an incomplete set of activities, whereas level 5, the practice is continually improving organizational capabilities associated with this purpose, meaning at level 5, there is continual improvement of the practice, which contributes to organization's maturity and capability and all that.